as Malcolm said, I was a season ticket holder the very first year. Obviously, it was an exciting time having Nancy Lieberman lead the team. And so I did take a little break. And at the time, I was still working in corporate America. But then I was laid off, like a lot of people when they start a business, they are laid off and they're trying to figure out what to do next. So I was actually doing informal coaching for some businesses that I had come in contact with. And when I was laid off, one of the guys I was coaching, he told me that it was my time to practice what I was preaching. So I had to take that lead and start pursuing my own practice as a coach, a business coach. And in the process, I was looking for networking groups. And one of the groups I was looking at was a BNI group in Las Colinas. So talking to the president of the group, he said, well, you can visit our group today, but we're not having our normal meeting. We're having an off-site meeting, but you're welcome to come. And there's a speaker. I don't know if you know this person, but the speaker name is Donnie Nelson. I said, I'm there. And he was so surprised that I knew who Donnie was. It's like, oh, I could just tell stories and stories about Donnie Nelson, his dad, when he coached for the Bucks, and a lot of things that he did, and so on and so forth. So that was my introduction to the journey of networking. And I was, while I was there, I was like the Air Hogs, because it was at the Air Hogs facility in Grand Prairie. And it's like, if the Air Hogs has a networking group like this, certainly the Legends have one. And so that's when I reached out to Malcolm, because I still had his contact information. And as they say, the rest is history. So thanks again to the Legends organization for giving me this opportunity to present to you this afternoon. And as Malcolm said, business is still thriving. There's a lot of businesses, unfortunately, are going under, but there are so many more opportunities that's out there, and we are seeing a lot of different businesses sprout up as a result of the COVID pandemic. But one of the things that's constant, regardless of whether a pandemic, a downturn in the economy, or whatever is going on, businesses need a plan. And if you don't have a solid plan, your business can suffer. You can stumble a lot more than you really need to. You can really make some bad mistakes that can be costly. And so the purpose of this presentation is to help you understand some of the things that you need to be thinking about, whether you have a small business, large business. Some of the information that I'm going to share will apply to any business, regardless to the size of your business. So the title of this presentation, as you can see, is a strategic plan to grow your business. My background, again, in corporate America, like a lot of people, over 35 years, primarily in the semiconductor industry, had teams of sales, inside sales, customer service, field sales, operations, you name it. I probably did it at some point. And I may go a little fast, so I apologize up front, because I want to make sure that we save enough time for any questions that you may have. First of all, a lot of times people confuse a consultant with a coach, and sometimes they even throw a mentor into the mix. So a brief differentiator between a consultant and a coach is many times a consultant will come in, make an assessment, make a recommendation based on their area of expertise. A coach, on the other hand, we may have areas of expertise, but we also are going to be more engaged into your business, helping you really understand all parts of your business. And then we're going to help you figure out what you need to do next, the tools and resources that you need to make you take it to the next level. And we're going to help you find those tools and resources. And we are really functioning as a partner with you. While we may not have all the answers, we are responsible for helping to find the answers so that we can better service you as our particular client. Many times when people are starting out, A lot of times they're told they need a business plan, they need a business plan, a business plan. And very few I have found understand the importance of having a strategic plan. A business plan obviously is needed because it does provide some valuable information that you need, especially if you're trying to get investors and you're trying to get financing from the bank. They always want a business plan because they want to understand a little bit about your target market, how you plan to penetrate your market, why you want to go into business, and so on and so forth. A strategic plan, on the other hand, is really the how you're going to make that happen. It's your roadmap to driving your business so that you can achieve the goals that you set for your business and continue to evolve. And the strategic plan is constantly evolving, where the business plan, you may update it maybe once every 5 years or so, but the strategic plan is a living, breathing document that you need to be updating monthly, quarterly, annually, and so forth. With AvaCoach, we have what we call 21 key strategies. And with most businesses, your areas of challenges or opportunities will fall into 3 basic categories: time, team, and money. A lot of times in the time bucket, a lot of businesses, they don't understand the value of having an operations manual and making sure that all their processes and procedures are documented so that they can then save time and be more efficient in a lot of areas, especially as you're ramping up. You don't want to have to stop and retrain someone because you don't have a documented process in place that they can follow to perform their tasks. With the team, a lot of times it's the measurements. A lot of times companies don't have documented measurements for each position. And every position, for the most part, should have some measurements or key performance indicators. Whether it's the receptionist on how soon they answer the phone and being courteous to the caller, to the receiving department, to the shipping department. Everybody should have some measurables in place that they can achieve as they continue to do their job on a day-to-day basis. And then leadership development. Many times you have businesses, especially a lot of small businesses, you start because it's a passion for you, or you kind of like a particular area, so you start a business, but you may not have the leadership skills to continue to develop the business so that it can grow and evolve. And so you may need some special training and development so that you can be a better leader for your organization. In the money bucket, the revenue and budget, a lot of times people don't have either a plan in place or they don't understand it. A lot of times you hear the term, know the numbers. That's where the budget and revenue come into place. So helping you understand how to read different financial documents and making sure you know what's the driver behind each, to help you know how you need to make adjustments and move on and so forth. And then the tactical marketing plan. Many times people think marketing is just social media or tweeting or whatever they may use, but that's just a tool to help you drive your marketing plan. But the tactical piece of it is important. So you may have a strategic marketing plan, but the tactical marketing plan is going to be the driver to achieve those goals and initiatives that you have in place. And sorry, I need to move the screen a little bit. These are some of the components of the strategic plan. Your who, your core values. That's kind of talking to the culture of your company. That's one of the things that you want people, when they hear your company's name, whether it's clients or your employees, they understand your culture, they understand your values, and they can say it whether you are around or not. That means that your values and your culture is recognized within the areas that you serve or the areas that you interact with, so that people know who you are. The why, what is the purpose of your company? It could be an individual that, like for me, my why and my purpose, I was meant to be a coach. I didn't know that for a long time, but I'm passionate about it. I want to make sure that every client that I touch succeeds, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. So understanding what your true why is very important. Where are you going in 3 to 5 years? Again, you have to have a plan in place. Yeah, it's good to know where you were, where you're at today, but you need to be looking forward as well. The what is helping you to identify the indicators to let you know how you're going to get there, or what you need to target to make you achieve those goals, and then to be able to measure those along the way so that you can see if your goals that you have in place are actually uh, real goals and that you're achieving those. And we'll talk about the goals a little later in the presentation. And then the how, measuring it, watching it on a regular basis, keeping accountable, making everybody accountable for their piece of the program or the business, making sure that they're doing what they are supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, and if they need help, to be able to get the help and resources that they need to succeed within the job. And then obviously the engagement. You want to celebrate any successes that you have and continue to instill the values of the organization, but make sure that the people that's helping you achieve those goals are recognized for their role in that success. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen this acronym, and the purpose of knowing each of these categories, especially when you think about your weaknesses and threats, those are not necessarily negatives, but it's a need to be aware of what those are. So as you're developing your plans or your goals, you can make whatever adjustment you need to address those particular areas so that you can, in other words, compensate or overcompensate for those areas, because you know that those could possibly have a negative impact on your business. But being aware of them and putting a plan together so that you can overcome them is important. The trends, you need to know what your industry is doing. If you are just going, and just doing things the way things are going today, and you're not keeping your eye on what's going to be changing in the future, then you may make some mistakes or have some delays in continue to achieve your goals, because you may have to play catch up. A perfect example is just technology in general. A lot of companies have took their time or wasn't really embracing things like social media, and they became kind of behind the 8 ball and had to play catch up. Or you may have companies like some of the large retail giants that's starting to suffer because they didn't keep up with the need for online shopping and things like that. So make sure that you, whatever your industry is, that you are aware, whether it's joining organizations that keep you abreast on the trends in your industry, other networking groups, talk to other people in your industry, but it's important to stay current with your industry. Here, just want to share an example of what goal setting may look like as it relates to some of the businesses. And this is just an example between goals and tasks, because sometimes people think setting a goal is the same as the task, but and I'll go through each of these scenarios a little deeper a little later, but setting a goal is kind of the top level, but you also need to make sure that that goal is, and I'll share that later, as a SMART goal, making sure that it's something that you really can achieve and why you are putting that goal in place. But the tasks that's associated with it, those again are going to help you achieve that goal. So these are just a couple of examples of what a goal versus a task look like, and making sure you're clear on what the two are and the differences so that you can focus on what's important at the time, and who is, when it comes to the task, who's responsible for executing on the different tasks to achieve that goal. Okay, sorry, look like my computer's locking up. No. Uh-oh. Technology is great when it works, right? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second. Okay. Okay, I think we're back. So this is a list of some of the goals that, regardless to what your business is, these are called Coach's Top Starting 7. And so the different areas that I'm going to share here, these are all parts of the business that no matter what business you have, you need these in your organization. And all of these can be outsourced services. And whether you have the expertise in-house or outsource, you need each of these areas. And this is a plug for some of the members within the Legends networking organization. I think in every one of these areas, we have members within the Legends network that can perform these different services. And a lot of times people don't necessarily think that these are important, especially if they have a small business. But this is the reason that these are important, because they, one, are all the foundational pieces of the business. So starting with the sales, obviously you need salespeople to help grow your business. But if you're not hiring the right salesperson and they don't know the product or service or to be able to help service your customer, they don't know your target market, then that may be a problem. So that's where your HR department may come in, because your HR department needs to make sure that you have the right job description, that you are hiring the right people, and that you have a great onboarding process so that they can succeed once they are hired. The salesperson needs to understand your target marketing plan or target marketing industry or customer base. If you have current campaigns going, any type of activity that the marketing team is doing, they need to make sure that the sales team is aware of what those are, so that if customers are inquiring, they can respond, and it shows that the company is also connected and they know what's going on within the company. Your IT department, you may bring a salesperson on, and you need to make sure that they have the right equipment, they have the right software that they're supposed to be using, they have access to the help desk if they're having problems while they're in the field. And one of the things with the IT department that some people forget, and I see this with small businesses, they are going and buy a laptop from a Best Buy. Nothing against Best Buy, nothing against their Geek Squad, but having an IT person that you may have on retainer that you can call at any time will be there to help you identify what equipment you need for your business, so that you make sure that you are buying the right equipment to successfully run your business. They're going to help you determine the best software. If there's upgrades, they're going to make sure that testing any upgrades and make sure that it's going to run efficiently on your system. So IT, another key area. Operations, again, processes and procedures, they need to be documented, and you need to have them. So say if the person is doing that job today, they decide they're not coming in today, you need to have it documented so I can sit down in that chair and follow some procedures and still perform the functions for that role, and be transparent to the customer. And hopefully you won't miss the beat in your operations because you have everything documented as needed. Legal, that I think that speaks for itself. Whether it's startup, making sure your property set up at the beginning, or if once you're in operation, you have contracts that you may need drafted, and making sure that the documents are in proper order. You may have a proprietary type product or service that you want to protect, making sure you're protecting your intellectual property, and having a legal source on staff or on retainer that you can contact to make sure that all those things are in order. And finance, again, know your numbers. You know that if you're not performing in a particular area, your numbers will tell you, and it'll help make sure that you're staying on top of some of the key areas within your business, as far as filing taxes on time, any other paperwork that needs to be processed as it relates to finance. That's one of the key areas. And another note, as it relates to finance, bookkeeping, accounting, and CPA, they're not the same. So the bookkeeper is going to do some of the day-to-day transactions, making sure that everything is kept current. But an accountant or a CPA, they're going to make sure that they're looking for ways for you to not necessarily get out of paying taxes, but try to find some tax savings for you, and also making sure that all your legal documents are filed on time and in a proper order to make sure that you stay correct with the IRS. So, well, sorry. Okay, the goal settings. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this acronym before. As you're setting goals, you need to do a double check to make sure that they meet the SMART check system is basically what it is. Make sure it passes the SMART check. And one of the reasons this is important is if you don't have a very specific goal, it may not be clear on how to achieve that goal. But here's just two quick examples of being more specific with your goals. In a previous slide, I think it said something about just increasing your sales per customer. That's very general. Here, when you do the SMART check, you're talking about very clear. You want to increase your sales per customer with at least 50% of your customers by December 31st of 2020. Is that specific? I think so. It's measurable. It's attainable. I think if you have, excuse me, the right salespeople in place to make it happen. Is it realistic? Probably so. If your company offers 4 different products and 50% of your customers are only buying 2, you have another opportunity to sell them all 4 of your products. So it requires having, going back to how they all tie together, your IT system having a CRM application in place that lets you see how many products and services your customers are buying, and then looking at which ones could possibly benefit from the other products that you offer, so that you can really have a specific target who you're going after to help drive those particular sales. And then again, the hire more reps, again, being very specific and making sure that it's past the SMART check goal of your goals. This is just an example of a 1-page strategic plan, and all the things that I talked about, and there's a few categories I didn't touch on, but this gives you a 1-page snapshot of all the different sections of your strategic plan. So you can always keep this up to date. You can share it with your teams. You can always know where you stand or where you started, where you're at today, looking at your future goals. And it's a visual that helps you helps you stay reminded on what's important, what you say you're going to do. It also gives you a chance to see if it's not working, where you need to make those adjustments. And so, and this, one of the reasons why I think this is important, and it goes back to what Malcolm was saying earlier, is about different businesses making adjustments to do what they need to do to grow their businesses. We've heard the word pivot a lot during this pandemic. I think that pivoting is good if that's what's needed. But if you have a solid strategic plan, you may need to just dig deeper within your current operation. Maybe you're not doing everything that you really can do to grow your business in the current structure that you have. And then having a strategic plan may help you dig a little deeper and grow within, and you don't necessarily have to pivot. But if pivoting is necessary, or you want to expand some of your offerings, yes, obviously you want to do that. But regardless, you still want to have a plan. And any questions?
Shirley, thanks so much. We got a number of questions that have come in here.
Okay.
And I got to scroll back here through the chat for quite a ways here because questions were coming in. I was able to answer some of them.
Okay.
And I can talk offline about some as well, like your willingness to share the PDF there, the PowerPoint. But one that came in here from Phil Claybrook, COVID-19 has created transition for some existing entrepreneurs and new startups for others. Can you talk to the importance of capital, cash flow, and credit, and kind of how you would plan around those three items?
Well, that's where, again, the business plan comes into place. Understanding what your target is, how you plan to grow them, and being able to know how much capital you actually need. It kind of depends on the stage of where they're at. If they are a startup and they may or may not qualify for certain funding, but there's organizations that's out there that's going to help them really understand where they're at financially. They may have to use, if they have 401ks or some other kind of retirement funds, that they may have to leverage those type of funds to get the additional capital that they need to launch the business. There's a few different things that they can do. That's one of those areas. I don't have all the information or all the knowledge on it, but that's where one of my partners will come in. So I have partners that I can put someone in contact with that's more experienced in those areas that can help answer those questions.
Shirley, to that point, in a lot of these different areas that you're talking about, you have to be able to self-identify where your weaknesses are, where you might be vulnerable, and be able to ask for help.
Right.
And that's where I think someone like you really comes into play. You're able to be a resource for folks. They can come to you and ask for help. And what I just heard was you say that that's not my area of strength, but I have someone that I can go to on behalf of another company, on behalf of myself, whatever it might be, to get that answer where you really know that you're getting an area of expertise and not somebody just kind of making it up as they go. And it's almost like out of your weaknesses, out of your vulnerability, it can come your strength. And I think that's really something that we got to remember here during this time period. So hearing you say that really reminded me of that. A couple other questions that came in. For businesses that are struggling right now, struggling to grow, struggling to, keep themselves afloat, what would be your number one priority to help them get through this successfully?
I would say, for one, look at their current, make sure they understand their financials, their profit and loss, and make sure they understand those. But then also look at what is their product and services that they offer today. Are they reaching as many customers today that they possibly can? And so it may tie back into their marketing plan, how they can reach more customers to sell their products and services, but they need to know who their market is so that they know who to target, how to target them, and the best way to reach them, because it would be useless for them to say do Facebook ad when their customers are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So if they don't understand that, they need to understand that, and then put a plan in place, put some realistic measurements in place, and start working the plan.
It's good. Another one that came in, you got your starting 7 on there, that seat. Maybe you want to go back to that if you can. How do you make sure that your starting 7, I'll let you get there.
Oh, wait. It's like, okay.
There you go.
See, I have it, this timer thing. Try to be
okay.
fancy.
Just let it go.
Okay.
How do you make sure that your starting 7 are all playing as a team, that they're a cohesive unit, they're all pursuing one goal?
Well, if you have a large enough company and you have all these pieces on staff, then obviously as a company, you should be able to make sure that everybody understands what the goals are and working as a team. If you're a small company and you're the business owner, you need, as long as you understand what your business is about, you are responsible for helping to make sure that they understand what your goals are, what your purposes are, the reason that you're engaging with them. And if they don't understand the goals and purpose of your relationship and where you're trying to go and why you need them, then they may not be the right person. But you can also bring them all together at some point to make sure everybody is on the same page, and that way they know that they are part of your extended team, so that they can hear everything at the same time and make sure that any pieces that they are responsible for, everybody else is aware of that as well. And it also kind of goes back to having the dashboard where you have each category identified and making sure that they know what their role is and they're doing their part. And so at the end of the day, a lot of it is communication and making sure you're picking the right partners. And don't be afraid to fire the person if it's not the right person.
It's a hard thing to do, but sometimes it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I do when I'm helping clients figure out the best partner for them, I help them identify why they need them, and I help them figure out who they should be talking to. So I typically find 3 people for them to talk to in the same industry, and then I send them to do the interviews because I want them to have a good feel for that person. And then they make the final decision. I'm just giving them some options on people who they can talk to and why they're talking to those people. That's
really good. I answered a number of the other questions. For those who have been asking, actually, we just got one more in. Let me throw it out there. I haven't even read it yet, so bear with me as I stumble through it. How do you strategically develop an offering that will resonate to solve the problem that you're solving, that will be easy to close and to scale?
It's that sounds like a marketing / sales type question. So, well, there's a few pieces in that. Part of that is, again, going back to knowing what the industry trends are for your industry and what the potential is. And then, again, knowing who your target market is and making sure that you're going after them the right way, the best way to reach them. So one size does not fit all, and you have to be educated on how you can reach that particular market. And then when you do connect with a prospect, what are the qualifiers to know that this is a true potential client for you? Because you need to be aware that it may take some levels of interaction and communication with them to make sure that it's a good fit for them, and not just chase the dollar, because you want a client, but you want it to be the right client.
Yeah. Folks, we do, a number of folks ask for the recording. We do record these. They get posted on our website. If you want the link sent directly to you, just email me, and everyone should have my email address. Email me and I can send that directly to you when it's posted. It should be posted by the end of the week. You know, Shirley is a wealth of information. But what I love about Shirley is that she's real. She's not one of these business coaches who get up here and, you know, try to apply the lesson that they learned at some other business in a completely different industry to your business. She listens and gets to know what you have going on and really brings a unique perspective to your specific challenges. So I would certainly encourage everyone, if you've got additional questions or if you want to delve deeper, to reach out to Shirley. But and I say this as a compliment, you're not going to get some canned answer. What you're going to get is more questions in all likelihood as she learns your specific situation, and so that she can truly provide guidance to what you're doing. Because no two businesses and no two problems are ever the same. I did want to, a couple other housekeeping. Richie Jones, congratulations. My text messages are accurate. He joined the Legends family here during this call. So Richie, welcome to the club. We're gonna love having you. And look, this is all about everyone continuing to move forward. You know, the MBA offices in New York, they reached out to me earlier this week, and they said, look, we're seeing and hearing not only from the Legends, but from partners of the Legends of all the great things that we've had going on the past 5 months to keep the ball, the proverbial ball, bouncing, right? To keep moving forward. And they wanted to know how we've come up with these ideas, the successes that we've had, and how others can do it. And the biggest thing that I would say, I said it to the MBA and I'll say it to everyone here, is we've got to keep moving forward. It's not going to be easy. And right now, maybe your business, if we're comparing it, maybe your business can't go 100 miles an hour, but maybe it can go 40. And you know what? It's a whole lot easier to get to 50 and 60 and so on when you're going 40 than when you're going 0. So keep moving forward and keep pushing to get better. And that's what we're all about. We want to continue making those connections. Next Tuesday morning, we've got our breakfast. We've got Ednisha Curry. She is the only female assistant coach of Division I college men's basketball team in the entire country. She is a tremendous coach. She's got tremendous energy. And I really look forward to hearing her talk about the challenges that she's overcome and how she continues to stay positive and persevere throughout those. I know a little ways up in the chat now, maybe Kevin can repost it, is the link for our networking. Make sure to copy and paste that. And that room will open about 5 seconds after I finish this sentence. Because we're all done, folks. Hope you enjoyed the lunch. We'll get Shirley's contact information out to everybody and look forward to catching everybody a little bit later. And if not on the networking, then at Tuesday's breakfast. Go Legends. Thanks, Shirley.
Thank you, Malcolm.